The loud gunshot echoed through the trees like a thunderclap. I was standing on the front porch of our ranch house, coffee mug in hand, when I heard it. One single, sharp blast. Then, a scream. A high-pitched, terrified scream that cut straight through my chest. It was my son, Luke. I dropped the mug. It shattered on the wooden porch. My boots hit the ground running before my brain could even catch up. I followed the scream, my heart thudding against my ribs like a sledgehammer. Down the dirt path, through the tall grass and past the stables, I sprinted. When I reached the open clearing near the fence line, my knees buckled. There he was. Luke, my 10-year-old son, was on his knees in the pasture. His arms were wrapped around his best friend Daisy, his miniature horse. She lay there, motionless, blood soaked into her white and brown coat. The sight of it twisted my stomach. "Dad? Dad!" he screamed, sobbing uncontrollably. "They shot her! They shot Daisy!" I fell to my knees beside them, trembling. I pressed my hand gently against her side. No heartbeat. Her eyes were open but lifeless. Whoever did this hadn't just fired a warning shot, they fired to kill. Before I could process it all, I looked up, and that's when I saw them. Two camo-wearing hunters, rifles slung over their shoulders, casually stepping through the broken section of our fence. One of them laughed, as if this was nothing more than a regular Saturday hunt. "You better not be touching our deer," one of them yelled. That was it. I stood up. My fists were clenched. "That's no deer. That's my son's horse. What the hell are you doing on my land?" They looked confused for a moment, then smug. "She ran out into our line of sight," one of them shrugged. "We had permission to be here. Some lady from the HOA said it was okay." My brain exploded with rage. HOA? Permission? This was private property. This was my ranch. Who in the world gave anyone the right to walk through our land with loaded rifles? The shorter one leaned on his rifle. Said it belonged to the community. Open range or some nonsense. I wanted to lunge at them, but behind me I heard another cry from Luke, deep and broken. I turned back, knelt beside him again, and wrapped him in my arms. He was shaking so hard I could feel his little heart pounding like a drum. "She was going to perform with me at the school show next month," he whimpered into my chest. "We practiced every day, Dad. Every day." I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. And then, just as I looked up again, I spotted her. There she was, Karen. Her ridiculous pastel sun hat and bright pink cardigan made her stand out like a sore thumb against the ranch's natural browns and greens. She was standing behind the hunters, arms folded, lips pursed, like this was some picnic she planned. She had given them access. She had sent strangers with guns onto our land. And Daisy was gone because of it. I stood slowly, lifting my son gently in my arms. "Go inside," I said to him quietly. "Tell your mom to call the sheriff." He looked up at me with tear-streaked cheeks. "What are you going to do?" I stared at Karen. "I'm going to get some answers." A week earlier, life on our ranch had been peaceful. We'd moved out here 2 years ago, just outside the main subdivision, hoping to raise our kids away from the chaos of city life. We bought a 10-acre ranch, independent, private, and definitely not part of the HOA that governed the gated community 2 streets over. Or so we thought. The trouble started when the HOA expanded its influence. Karen, the self-appointed community coordinator, began showing up at our gate. At first, it was small talk, harmless things. "You really should trim those hedges out front. They're a bit wild." Then it became more controlling. "You're flying a flag that's not in our guidelines." And then just plain weird. "I've marked your fence line on the community trail map." That last one raised red flags for me. She had printed flyers and left them in our mailbox, claiming our fence was bordering public recreational property. A blatant lie. I spoke with my wife, Melissa, about it. She thought we should ignore her. "She's just a bored retiree with too much time," she said. "She can't do anything if we don't let her." That was before we noticed unfamiliar tire tracks near the creek, footprints near our barn, and candy wrappers scattered near our chicken coop. It escalated quickly. 3 days before the shooting, we woke up to find a laminated sign nailed to our fence. Community Wildlife Access Trail. Authorized entry permitted by HOA Council. I ripped it down immediately, but I had no idea what Karen was planning behind the scenes. Turns out she'd told local hunting hobbyists that this part of the land was open access. Undeveloped HOA green space, she called it. She gave out maps. She gave them our gate code, and now Daisy was dead. After I sent Luke inside, I stormed toward Karen. "You let them in?" I growled. She didn't even flinch. This land wasn't being used properly. It's filled with weeds. We thought it would be a nice gesture to the community. "We?" I asked, fuming. "This is my land. My son's horse just died because of your gesture." She scoffed. "It was just a pony. You people are always so sensitive." That was the final straw. I pulled out my phone and began recording. "Say that again." Her eyes flickered with hesitation, but pride held her tongue. "I said it was just a pony," she repeated. "Good. Now I had her." I didn't say another word. I turned and walked back toward the house, seething. Melissa met me at the porch, her face pale and lips trembling. "Sheriff's on the way," she said quietly. "And Luke won't stop crying." I nodded. My jaw was clenched so tight I could barely speak. "They're going to pay for this," I said. "Every last one of them." The sheriff arrived within 30 minutes, but the hunters were already gone. They had vanished down the hill and into the woods beyond the back of the property. Karen, of course, denied everything. "I don't know those men. I certainly didn't give them any codes." But she didn't know I had the footage. Her voice, crystal clear, dismissing Daisy's death like it was nothing. Later that night, I sat beside Luke's bed. He was holding a framed photo of Daisy. He didn't want to talk. He just stared at the wall. "I'm going to make this right, buddy," I whispered. "I promise." Then the phone rang. It was Officer Ray, the sheriff's deputy. "Mr. Harding," he said, "you're not going to believe what we just found." And that's where everything changed. Officer Ray's voice crackled through the phone, heavy with urgency. "We found something in the woods. You'll want to come down to the station first thing in the morning. Bring any security footage you have." "What did you find?" I asked, holding the phone tightly. There was a pause. "Let's just say those hunters might be involved in more than just trespassing and shooting livestock." I ended the call and sat in silence for a moment. Melissa was watching me from the hallway, worry etched all over her face. "What's going on?" she asked. "I'm not sure yet," I said. "But it sounds like there's more to this than we thought." That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything in my head, the look on Luke's face, the blood on Daisy's coat, Karen's smug expression. I wanted justice. But more than that, I wanted to protect my family. This wasn't just a case of a nosy HOA Karen anymore. This was something deeper, possibly criminal. The next morning I drove to the sheriff's station with the flash drive containing all our recent security footage, from the stables, the front gate, the barn, and even the drone camera we'd mounted last year to monitor our land. When I stepped inside, Officer Ray led me to a back room where a map of our area was pinned on the wall. Red thumbtacks marked several locations near the edge of our ranch. "Your drone picked up these two men leaving the ranch after the shooting," he explained, pointing at the footage. "But it also captured them burying something along the western fence line just before they left." "Burying something?" I asked. "What was it?" "We dug it up," Ray said. "It was a cooler. Inside we found hunting bait and something else, a printed list. A list with GPS coordinates, along with a map labeled Permitted HOA Hunting Grounds, signed by Karen Whitman." I blinked in disbelief. "She made fake permits?" I asked. "Yep," Ray confirmed. "And that's not all. We traced the names on the list. Those hunters are part of a group we've been watching for months. They've been poaching on private land and selling meat under the table. It's illegal. And now that they've crossed state lines and killed a registered trained animal, that's a felony." My jaw tightened. They murdered my son's therapy horse, I said coldly. She wasn't just a pet, she was his partner, his peace. I know, Ray said, and we're going after them. But first we need to hold Karen accountable. You said you recorded her admitting to giving them access? I nodded. I have it on video and audio. Good, he said. Then we can build our case. But fair warning, Karen has money. And lawyers. I returned home with fire in my chest. Melissa met me at the door. What did they say? They found evidence, I replied. Karen's fake permits, her signature. And those hunters? They're known poachers. Her eyes widened. Are they going to arrest her? Not yet. But we're getting close. Luke was on the porch, quietly brushing the saddle that used to belong to Daisy. My heart cracked again. I walked over and crouched beside him. We're going to build a memorial for her, I said gently. Right near the pasture she loved. He nodded. Can I help? Of course. She was yours. That weekend, we built the memorial. A white wooden archway with Daisy's name painted in blue across the top. We placed her saddle on a post, surrounded by flowers from the neighbors. Luke chose a smooth stone from the creek to sit beside it. He called it her thinking rock. He said she liked to sit by him when he sat there to read. The neighbors who weren't part of the HOA came out to support us. Old Mr. Clay brought iced tea and offered to mend the broken fence. The Monroe twins, who were around Luke's age, brought drawings they made of Daisy and hung them on the archway. The outpouring of kindness surprised me. But just as things started to feel peaceful again, a white Lexus SUV pulled up to our gate. It was Karen. She got out like she owned the land, wearing oversized sunglasses and a forced smile. Behind her trailed a man in a cheap suit with a large leather briefcase. Melissa stepped out to meet her first. What do you want, Karen? Karen didn't answer her. Instead, she looked around like she was inspecting the place for resale. The man with her cleared his throat. I'm Harold Grayson, legal representative for the Hillside View HOA. We've come to inform you that your property has been flagged for non-compliance. Non-compliance with what? I asked, stepping forward. Karen finally spoke. The open land on the southern end of your ranch is considered shared green space. You've placed a structure there without HOA approval. My